Hi, everyone in the Balanced Lady Boss community. You know, we are just so pumped and excited for this conversation that we're getting ready to have today. As you would have heard from my intro, I am joined by the amazing Danielle Terrelonge, who is CEO of Life Extraordinaire, not just an amazing company, but just so many different things. And so I'm looking forward to sharing, because I'm actually really great friends with Danny. I'm looking forward to you hearing or watching the conversation that we're about to have. What I love about Danny's story and her life journey in particular, her hero journey, is that she has really been bossing it in the boardroom, in the bedroom, and with her bliss. And this is I would say the conversation is the epitome of what it really means to be a balanced lady boss. So I'm gonna welcome Danny and allow her to just say hi.
Hi, Stace. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me on. It really, really is a pleasure to be with you and just to see how you have taken this in a epic way.
Thank you so much. And Dan, so you were telling me a story about, when my assistant asked you to be a guest, because a lot of persons, when they hear the word balanced lady boss, they really do think it means somebody who has it all together. And the
Yeah,
truth is, it's actually the total opposite. And
it,
so,
it is. When Cara said, Danielle, Stacey would love you to be on her podcast. And my immediate response was Danielle and balanced lady in the same sentence. If there was ever an oxymoron, I have yet to hear one. Um, but the thing for me, Stace, that I've learned is balanced does not mean equality. It does not mean that we have a third of this and a third of that and a third of that all the time, balancing everything. It's not 50% of my professional life and 50% of my personal life. If we start to look at balance in that way, we're doomed to fail, right? And for me, what is important, and certainly what I'm present to these days, is what season am I in? The Bible speaks to harvest time and planting time, and there's so many things that refer to season, and that for me, and you even see this in relationships where there's a season for the husband to go forth and take over the world, and there's a season for the wife to be able to go forth and take over the world. A concept I'm not personally clear on, but this is the season of really learning to find balance and defining what balance is for me: self-care, wellness, transition. And I think that's a big part of our conversation today, but getting rid of this thing that says we have to be equal
yes.
mom, equal, like that equation. I can do well in math, but that equation just does not work.
No, absolutely. And I'm actually happy that you brought up the conversation of transition, because I'm going through multiple levels of transition. And the truth is that season 3 of the show was all about me talking about transitioning into entrepreneurship. I think I literally used season 3 as therapy. Like, every person that I asked on was either some big CEO or somebody running their own company, and they had at one point or another been in corporate, and or persons who were still in corporate and encouraging me to step out. And now that I'm actually having taken those steps, that's what season 4 is going to be all about. It's going to be all about the journey in this new transition. And as we step into boardroom, I would love for you to share with us just how you are bossing boardroom right now in your own transition journey, because you've just gone through a whole lot of different things.
Yeah. So, the other thing for me that's important is that boardroom, bedroom, and bliss, we can put them in these buckets, right? But sometimes I kind of have to overlap, because sometimes when you're in your boardroom, you have to still be attending to stuff about the bedroom. And you still have to be attending, and hopefully all of that is causing some bliss along the way, right? But in terms of boardroom, I'm loving the new journey I'm on, and I want to declare outright, it's uncomfortable.
Mm.
It's painful in many ways. It is disruptive, and I just want a nap, right? I just, I
Girl,
just, I just
can
want a
you
nap.
say it? Can I
So,
just get a
can
yes?
we just breathe, right? And the thing is, I have, because I'm very conscious of creating time and putting things in proper bucket, it's not that I don't have the time for a nap. I just want my brain to shut up so that I can actually nap.
Yes.
So boardroom, I'm still running DRT communications, building this business, supporting 22 team members become the best version of themselves, supporting clients build their companies, through our service, through marketing, and an expansion throughout the Caribbean region. At the same time, being accountable to board members, and doing so in a time where still 2 years later we're struggling, as so many businesses have, through COVID. We're talking about hybrid remote work, managing teams through that are now on remote, and some people not showing up every single day, but managing productivity in a different way, then wanting to be of service, sitting on the board of the Jamaica Business Development Corporation, Rev Up Caribbean, trying to, be a light and an inspiration to other small businesses, growing, and then recently appointed to the board of Spurtree Spices that just did their IPO. So trying to be all of these things. Meanwhile, I also have other businesses. All right, I am a mindset coach. I found out yesterday, by the way, I took on another course in nutrition, to become a certified health coach. And I've been kind of doing my work, but then I found out I'm 120 hours behind on my homework. I'm like, say what? I don't let that stuff happen to me. By the way, you can't sit the exam until you do the work. Like, you have to do it. So you kind of like go, let me just, try and make it through this. When in doubt, you see. No, they don't even let you into the portal, right? So I say all of that not because I'm like, I got this going on. Clearly, 120 hours behind shows I don't have it going on. But I sit in the place of all things work together for good, and somehow, some way, this is going to work out. And who do I need to show up as? And just as I close this thought, how am I showing up for my full self, mind, body, and spirit? Because Stacey, I've been in seasons where I've just gone, driven myself into absolute nothingness, unhealthy, not eating well. Da, da, da. I'm not playing that game anymore, right? And it's now kind of trying to rebalance that. All of that stuff, my exercise, my eating, all of that is just as important as reading the minutes of the board meeting.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's really good. Now, I really like what you said when you talked about just, being 120 hours behind was the wake up call. Because isn't that what happens? Like you'll think, yeah, I got this. And then you realize you missed 5 meetings,
Yeah.
or you have this report that's going to be due when you have the next thing coming up, and it's like, where did this come from? I had no idea that this was even in the frame, of the current moment. So I really appreciate you sharing that.
And you know what? You know what I did when I realized it? When I went into the portal, and I think I'm doing my due, right? And we all kind of maybe think sometimes we got it. We finally did the task list, but this very big thing was not planned.
Yes.
And immediately I went into anxiety. How could I do this? And the guilt and the this. And I just said, Danielle, I asked myself, are you doing the best you can do right now?
Yeah.
And the answer to that was yes. Are there changes I need to make? Yes. But you're doing the best you can with what you have right now. And that took me from a hearing anxiety right down. And from there, from that creative space, from that energy level, I was able to look and say, how do I solve this problem? Because contrary to popular beliefs that I don't even know how came up, Danielle Terrelonge does not have it all together all the time. Like, no, no, she absolutely doesn't. And I'm really proud to say I don't, because
Yeah.
it means I'm being fully authentic. I don't have a lot going on. I have a lot together, but it's not always together.
Yeah. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. You know, I think it's normal actually. I think when we look on to see that everybody is bossing it and they're holding down 10 jobs and they're just killing it and on time for every meeting and, you know, read the minutes before the thing and have the comments submitted a week ahead and all. I mean, like, you know, it's just not real. Because if
No.
that's
Or
happening,
something suffering.
exactly, exactly. So, you know, I totally get that. Now, in the space of your career, you're wearing lots of different hats. Do you feel like you're transitioning from your original passion of marketing to this new passion of life change through energy and mindfulness and nutrition?
I definitely think that I'm incorporating more of that into my life. And I'm trying to create a structure that allows me to do more coaching, allows me to serve my community more in that space. You know, Stacey, you would have known a couple of years ago where you would have never heard me say the following. I am an excellent marketer. I have a question in my mind around that. That's not something I would say with confidence a few years ago. Maybe I'd say it in a press release because that's what I'm supposed to say, right? But now I truly believe it in my core. There's something about turning 40. I'm also an incredible coach. And not that, and I say I'm an incredible coach, not because of anything that I've done, but because I see the growth in my clients, I see the transformation happening, and that's really the test. Now, I know what it is like for life to be uncomfortable. I know what it means to literally make a 180. And that's why I decided to become a coach so that I could support, not just tell my story, but actually be of service and support to people. And it has become a business. Would I ever let marketing go fully? No, because it's a huge part of who I am. But what I'm learning is that whatever I am doing, whichever client I have in whatever business I have, I must be able to serve them with joy. I must be able to serve them because I want to, not just because, it's them going to pay the bill. Or I must feel passionate about what they do. I don't want to work in areas and for industries that I actually don't really believe in or support or I don't think is good for the environment or whatever. I must feel total joy. And that doesn't mean the work is gonna be easy. I'm not looking for
Right.
easy work. I'm looking for work that's fulfilling and impactful. And from that perspective, there's a lot of clarity. And it's the same thing even with working with coaching clients. Are they ready to make a firm decision and do they think that this is the perfect time? Once I'm working with a client who has firm decision because it's the perfect time,
Hmm.
anything is possible.
Hmm. Oh, that's excellent. And I'm happy that you kind of segued into talking about your coaching work. And while I know that we have limited time, I would love for you to kind of share that part of your story that was in and of itself a season of transition, going through the
Right.
change, your body change, and really committing to. And I can tell you, Danny, let me tell you, if nothing else, I would look for an IG because I'm really horrible at social media. I get social media anxiety, but I would always go to your page because it was so inspiring to see the level of commitment that you made to the transformation of your body. And of course, my company is called Epic Transformation. So anytime I see anything that just you can literally see A to Z, and truth be told, I actually know other persons who have done gastric bypass surgery or a similar kind of surgery to actually help them supporting on their wellness journey. But I have never seen someone that has gone through the process and has committed their entire lifestyle to maintaining the transformation that the path, the journey that they've taken. So I'd love for you to just take us down that little kind of bucket transition that season. I would love to share that.
Sure. Well, I'm going to start with just because, the brain and I'll forget 66 or something like that percent um, of bariatric patients, but gastric sleeve patients actually revert within 2 years to significant weight gain, and there's a number of reasons for that. So, because bariatric surgery is simply a tool, just as any diet or anything, and I'm glad that I had that wake up call. It is one of the tools in the toolbox But you will hear me say over and over again, the day I changed my mindset is the day I changed my life. Does that make me perfect now? Am I, not eating chocolate cake? Oh, girl, just bring it. I'm here for it, right? So just in a nutshell, for 20 odd years, I was, very, very overweight. I was 222 pounds at my heaviest. And I'm only 5'1" for those people who think I'm tall. I'm quite the shrimp. And I was living a life where I was constantly tired. I did every single gym that you could think of. I did every single workout. I did every single diet. But I failed myself. I failed stick to itiveness. I failed in a lot of ways. But really, I just never believed in myself that it was possible. I was also busy bringing up a child, starting a business. Everything always came up in the way. So I'm not like berating myself for this. In 2018, I got a diagnosis of diabetes, and I sat in my bed and I said, "Oh no way! Like this is it, Terrelonge. This is it." And I took a halfway kind of month off work because as an entrepreneur, you can't really take a full month off work. And I went straight into the gym. I went back to my doctors and said, "I'm going to do this." I had been doing tests for months and months. That's how we found out. I wasn't really sold on bariatric surgery to begin with, but at that point, I became sold on it. Went to my doctors and I said, "Let's go." My insurance company approved it in about 3 seconds because they knew that they were going to end up paying out more. They don't like to pay for bariatric surgery, but my trajectory did not look good. So, went right ahead into it and went as soon as I was healed enough, I started reading a book by David Goggins. I started following David Goggins, and he poses this question, and I've stolen it since. What is on the other side of uncomfortable? This is hard. Learning to run is hard. Starting a business is hard. Keeping it going is hard. Managing team members is hard. Squats are hard. And learning to eat in a whole new way when really only you want the fried chicken and the chocolate cake, girl, it is hard. But what is on the other side of uncomfortable? And that's where you dig in. And some days you dig in and you just, I can't do this. I'm not digging anywhere. But really, it's about digging deep within and knowing that I have to be uncomfortable through transition. There is no transition worth anything that does not, one, break the rules, and two, feel like comfortable. Yeah. Even if you get an inheritance, it means somebody dies. If you have a financial issue and you're like, okay, well, now I have all this money, it means somebody died, and it probably means you're sad. There is no transition, no opportunity that is comfortable. And it's to sit through it and make that commitment, that firm decision. And I believe that's what I have been able to do so far. And I continue to make decisions over and over again. I have a new task management tool, like literally every 5 weeks. People think I'm naturally organized. Absolutely not. Right? But I can't function outside of organization. So I have to keep finding. Asana, again, I think I've signed up for Asana no less than 55 times. Right? But we keep on having to go. Microsoft To Do, we keep on having to go. Google Tasks, we go again. I've set my calendar to workout times, set times, no less than 3 times this year already, because I still have to keep on making it work. When it's uncomfortable, try and figure it out again. Because one thing I'm clear on, my health, my mental well-being, and my success and impact on people. And however we have to get through that, right? Yeah. And it's hard. It's rough. Yeah. But what's on the other side of uncomfortable?
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm at.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And you look amazing, by the way. I mean, guys, you have got to check out her Instagram page. You'll see like all the things, all the changes, all the work, and I want to underscore that what is on the other side of uncomfortable, because I'm in a lot of discomfort right now, shifting into entrepreneurship. It is aside from kids and cancer and depression and divorce, it's one of the hardest things I've had to do. But I'm really excited by what the possibility on the other side of uncomfortable. And I think there's that the vision pulls you, I think there's a lot of that kind of feeling to it. And I completely get you really sinking your teeth into that and having the moment where it's like, okay, Terrelonge. It's like for some persons we need that Mack truck,
Yeah.
you know.
Would
And I think a lot of us very deliberate and determined and intentional about all the things in our lives. I think women like us are more likely to need the Mack truck because you'll get the nudge, but you're so busy fitting a square peg into a round hole and keeping everything going and moving.
and keeping the world alive. Like you feel like
Yes,
sometimes the whole world. That's right. That's right
yes,
there. That you kind of need something to go. Hey,
yes,
I need you over here, and I
yes.
actually need to be alive to be able to do all of those things that are distracting you. Stacey, I just wanted to jump in on you because you said something really important a while ago about, divorce, um, depression, stuff that we go through. And I'm not making light of it because as we speak, I continue to fight through a lot of depression and anxiety. And I've been very bold about it. Why? Because I know I'm not the only one. But we don't talk about it enough, right? And for me, what's on the other side of uncomfortable, that question has actually carried me through depression and everybody depression manifests very differently for many people. For me, there are days that I'm not quite sure I'm going to even make it till 10 o'clock, and it is a scratching through. The anxiety can go to an 8, 9, 10 out of 10, and I actually scale it with those around me now. I have to pull back. And what carries me through is saying, Danielle, I talk to my anxiety, or when I'm feeling super depressed, which can happen for weeks on end. I talk to it and I say, I see you. I see that you are here. But what I am sure of is the vision ahead of me. What I'm
Mhm.
sure of is that there's something on the other side of me. So hang around, have a drink, stay if you want to. I don't want you here. You're not really welcome. But I'm
Right,
not going to fight you
right.
right now because fighting only creates more of it. And I literally say, I know that this season will end. I know that this medication will kick in. I know that there's another solution. I know something else. There's a new possibility, a new opportunity, a new way of being. And I'm going to hold on to that.
Yeah,
And to me, stronger than any medication, that's what's kept me going. If not, I give up on time.
yeah, man.
Oh,
No, real talk, real talk. Absolutely. And I think where it shows up for me now, I mean, when I was at the height of experiencing depression, primarily when I was ill with cancer. Um, I think for me now, where it shows up is me not feeling. It's more anxiety than it is feeling in that depressed state. But it's really more around being able to feel like I am on solid footing with what I'm creating.
yeah.
I
So
feel so shaky,
yeah, yeah.
you know?
So when I have an anxious spell, the best thing, and I live on my own, so this doesn't happen very often, but I had an anxiety attack in October. I was with my sister actually. And all I did, I asked her to come and sit beside me. And she's like, what? I'm like, can you just sit with me? And she put her hand on my leg. And within half an hour, it
Came
came
down.
down. And what that said somehow, and I know that's what I need, it says I'm on stable footing. So in that case, I was able to reach out for that in a physical way to kind of get that feeling and almost like a metaphor, I guess,
Yeah,
a physical manifestation of it's going to come down. But what my thing to those suffering those anxiety, what is okay right now, and
yeah,
focus there.
yeah.
Is my relationship with my boyfriend okay? I don't have one, so it doesn't work. Is the relationship with my, which is actually pretty okay. um, I ask myself, what is the truth?
Mm,
What is the truth right now? Because the mind can tell you all sorts of things that is so not true.
yes.
Everything is falling apart. Okay, what is the truth? Did we pay all of DRT's bills last week? That is the truth.
Yes.
Does the
Yes.
salary speak? Yes, that is the truth. Are you breathing? Is that the truth? And I go through just what is the
Yeah.
truth?
Yeah.
And it works maybe for a few days and I start the process again.
Yeah. No, that's good. I use gratitude. I try to find things that I'm grateful for. I always think of my grandma first because she's just easy, low hanging. It's like I associate gratitude with her. And she's 86 and so much fun now. 'Cause, they say whatever come to their mind. So, so that immediately like, okay. And then I pull for very basic things, oh, I hear a bird outside,
Mhm,
you know,
mhm.
it's sunny, or oh, that rain feels so nice, here it smells so good. Like I try to, I'm so grateful for, the sunshine. Oh, I'm so grateful I'm on the island because it's a snowstorm in New York. Like I
Right.
do like those things. If I don't have that person, because you're right. And I have actually recognized that, where I know actually, like, if my partner, if Marlon is not in the same space with me, I will call for him, because
Yes,
when it's getting really bad, I'll call and be like, can you just come?
yes,
And I don't think persons actually maybe even recognize when they're having anxiety attacks some of the time. It took
yes,
me going into therapy and having a therapist kind of say, well, you're clinically depressed and showing strong signs of having anxiety attacks. That's why you're here. So you're either going to get pills or you're going to go to the psych ward. And I was like, well,
right,
can we just start with a conversation? Like,
right, yes,
this is all new, you know?
yeah, yeah.
um,
I think being able to recognize them is key. And I'll tell a story real fast. Last week I was in a meeting, and I was very triggered. But what I found is that my reaction was more, in other words, my team was wrong. Like it's not a question. But what I found was that my reaction was much more than was warranted. What I was feeling, and because I know I was in a state of anxiety, I just retracted from. I just recused myself from the meeting. I said, everybody, I'm going to honor myself and I'm going to honor you and the relationship and the culture that we're trying to develop at DRT. And right now, I'm not in a good place. And I'm just going to ask for someone else to take over the meeting, and I'll rejoin if I'm able to. That's some emotional maturity that I did not have 2 years ago. And guess what?
good.
Maybe it wasn't right for everybody else, but it was right
Yeah,
for
right for
me.
you.
It
Yeah,
was right for me, and I had to make that choice for myself. And that's because an awareness now of what my body is feeling and my ability to label it and make a move that works for me.
yeah. No, that's very good. And actually, I'm so happy you shared that, because I think one of the things that our millennials are seeking is that ability to speak their truth and to find ways to do it that are not viewed as aggressive or combative or disrespectful. And I think what you just shared shows one of the ways that you can communicate
Yeah.
that you need to emotionally disconnect from this situation, conversation, whatever it is.
Yes. And then being confident enough to do it.
Yeah,
Being
yeah,
confident to know what's right for you and what
yeah,
serves you. I speak slowly there because it's sometimes to feel like, yeah, but I'm being selfish. But for me, what would have happened? Let's use that same example. I would have lashed out or
yeah,
or, or stayed super silent and
yeah,
not been able to communicate. Guys, I'll rejoin in 15 minutes.
yeah,
You know, it I it's there's we're in a season now where we have to stop, take a breath, and say what serves me in this moment that I can actually be the best for everyone else.
yeah. Yeah, and I think this is actually the opportunity. This is the opportune time, because we've all been, as an earth of people, we have all been locked in, locked down, shut up, shut down, or virtually communicating for such a long time. I think there is a lot more acceptance for accessing this type of communication, this way of being. And I
Yeah.
feel that we should take advantage of it, not try to shrink into what we think is normal,
Right.
So absolutely, thank you for sharing that. And another place where that works really well is in the bedroom, because in the space of relationships, guys, and just to clarify for those of you who are probably listening or joining for the first time or watching me for the first time, when we talk about bedroom, it's not just about the hot sex. Okay, let's just get clear about that. This
So because
bedroom,
I wouldn't be here. Does make sense.
right?
That's why that scope of it.
Yes, the bedroom space is really anything that is related to intimate relationships. And my guests do tend to come on and talk about intimate love partners, which is fine because I happily welcome that conversation. But they also talk about their families, their children, mom problems or mom successes, daddy issues or daddy successes, but it's anything that's in that intimate space that you really typically have those conversations in your bedroom and not outside at a road chatting about them. And
Right.
so conversations and communication, I have found, have been probably the thing that has really helped my current relationship to continue to thrive, because I still consider us relatively new. We've been dating for 2.5 years now, I think it is. Can you believe it already? My God. Um, and there is still learning. It's like every relationship has a season, right? And as you move through those seasons, you start to show up as a different version of yourself. Just like how if it's winter, you're wearing a coat, you have wintering in relationships,
Absolutely.
right? And similarly, if it's summertime and you feel hot and sexy and you're just out and about and you're doing all the things, and so I'm in a transition in my relationship now as well, which is really interesting, in my love relationship. And even in my relationship with my kids, I'm in a transition as well because my kids are shifting into now needing actually more of my time, which is quite surprising. You think when they're younger, they need you more. But no, when they get older, they're talking to you all the time. It's just like they just always need you. Like, what is that about? Like, ain't you supposed to be going off to something else? So I
Yeah,
did
well, now
want to
is
talk
when
about this with
they're
you.
trying to figure out life.
Life. Yeah.
Big person, not
Yeah.
that they don't make cornflakes for them anymore, which is like what we dreamed of. Like, can you just get to the kitchen on your own? Now they need to be like, Mom, how does the mortgage work? It's like, really? It's like, haven't I been making cornflakes? Haven't I done my time making cornflakes already? So,
Yeah, so I
yeah.
wanted to transition into space of talking about bedroom and your bedroom space and just what is probably the most important area of bedroom for you right now. Like, where would you say your focus is? And it can be in your love relationship space. I know that you've said you're single, and maybe, it sounds pretty intentional in terms of work that you're doing. Maybe it's with your daughter. Maybe it's with your dad. Maybe it's with your sister. Like what does that look like?
Right. So I'll start at the love space. It is intentional. I'm just now ish kind of opening myself up back into the love space. I had a very, very traumatic breakup just under 2 years ago that literally shocked and chipped away at my identity. And it shattered. I wouldn't even say chipped. It shattered my sense of self and sense of who I am, having created this new body, new way, new energy, new Danielle. And somebody said, you know what? Yeah, not you. And did some things that weren't good. And it took a long time to heal. And in the past 2 years, every time I thought that I had healed, I wasn't quite ready. But now I believe that I am on the path to opening up and seeing if love will come my way or when it will come my way. But one thing I will say, I've lived by the mantra of you can't get over a man by getting underneath another. And some people feel differently about that, but I have found it to be super helpful because you when something traumatic happens, you have to take the time to heal. You have to process it,
Yeah.
and however you to process it. And I believe that's the journey that I've been on, especially when it literally rips your identity. The
Mm.
things you thought, the narrative that's in your brain is just totally different and needs to actually now be different. So that's my love and intimacy space in the bedroom. My relationship with my daughter is super interesting because she's 23. So I had emptiness really, really early in my life. And now I made a joke last week. She got a puppy, and so I'm now a grandpup mommy. And it's really funny to watch her go through this. But I'm also talking to my daughter like 2 years ago, a year ago. I was talking to her about getting an IUD and birth control, and my friends were like, "You're literally walking your daughter through the IUD process," and I was like, yes, because she's around, because no one else was there for, like, I didn't have
Yeah.
that. So she didn't know what an IUD was, and she was reacting badly to the pill. So I we went through it. And mom, I'm at the doctor's now. I'm gonna get an input. Mom, I have bad cramps because they put in an
Yeah.
IUD, whatever. Because for me, it's important to be that for her. So we're like talking about big people things and to visit her and her boyfriend, and it's like, well, this is new. This is a whole new experience. Like, and somebody said the other day, they can't believe I'm this woman of God and allowed my daughter to go live with a man. And like, I was like,
Wow.
all right, so I'm gonna take that on, not in the way that I really like innately want to take that on. So I just said, listen, my daughter is 23 years old, not 12. So
Right.
I'm not like sending her into the slave trade or something. I didn't sell her. So
Trafficking.
she's 23. She just graduated from university. And if I were to be a hypocrite, she was 4 when I was 23.
Right.
She went on that path, not with my blessing, but she will always have my support. So she ended
Yes.
up in prison. I wouldn't be happy about whatever took her to prison, but she would always have my support. And that's what a mother does. And I was very clear when this whole idea
No,
of
that's good.
living with her boyfriend was. I also got to meet said man, and I realized that that man honors her and is a blessing to her. And she's in an environment, and I'm able to see the positive in her having actually a good man, right?
Mm.
Who has values that I approve of. So I just kind of took it to the person that way. But she's 23, so and I continue to be challenged by parental relationships. My mom died 3 weeks ago. The woman who raised me and chose me, not my biological mom, but the woman who said, Danielle, you are worth it, and I'm going to stay with you and take care of you and be your mom for you. And she passed away, and I've been processing no longer having that safety um, that a mom brings. And I
Mm.
didn't actually realize how much of a safety it was for me until
Mhm.
um, until she passed. And it's hard for me, and how much she taught me, and how
Mhm.
much her narrative is my narrative. And as a result, how much of her world, her in my world, was actually so much.
Yeah.
Um, the loss is hard,
Yeah.
but the blessing of knowing that my biological mom left me when I was 1 year old. But there was this one lady who said, "You're born into my hand, and I will never leave you." And it's such a beautiful place to be, even though it's that, you
Mm.
know. Uh, yeah,
That's
I think that's
wow.
my bedroom.
Wow, that's beautiful. Oh gosh, I'm just, every time I have thought about it, right? I think about not doing this podcast. Um, I remember the intention, and it's for conversations just like the one that you just had, because there are so many persons who don't have a relationship with their mother. It's not necessarily the common thing. You tend to more hear about the father thing.
Yeah,
Um, and so to even understand, and I think in Jamaica, we are actually blessed with access to moms like
yeah,
yours.
yeah,
I mean, you have so many families that are heavily dependent, like literally they could not do without having that home support person,
Yeah.
that nanny, that caregiver to take care of their kids. And the kids, it's like, yeah, man, this is mom, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I had somebody say he actually called her mommy, and I said, "When I was that little girl, I didn't have a biological mother. She was it." In my spirit, in my 20s, feeling void and neglect and stuff from my biological mother, processing that, I heard loudly in my spirit, "I didn't take your mother away from you. I gave you the best one."
that's
And
so
that,
good. Oh, that's so good.
I
You
heard that as
know,
audibly as we
oh,
speak.
and you
Yeah.
know what? That is such a beautiful principle that you can apply to any area of your life. You know, I didn't take this man away from you. I gave you the best one. I didn't take this child away from you. I gave you the best option or the best
I didn't take this business.
alternative. I didn't
Yeah.
take this business away from you.
I
I
didn't
gave
take
you
this
the best
job away.
that.
Yeah.
Yes. There's just, oh, that's so beautiful. Oh, I got chills. Yeah, that's beautiful. That is nice, Danny. Thank you
Then
so
you
much
can
for
think that
that.
I didn't fail at that. I'm about to succeed at something else. It is a
Yes. Yeah.
whole, I tell people, I have a recent post up that says, I don't look at restrictiveness. I look at more that. And if people are like, what? I don't look at trying to stop eating chocolate cake. I look at trying to add more green vegetables. Because if I'm focused on the chocolate cake, I want to start eating a lot more. I'm going to
Exactly.
failure, the loss, the the void,
That's good.
all of
That's
that.
good.
I'm gonna focus on eating some more green stuff. And if in the middle of that I have some chocolate cake, okay, well, wow. But guess what? I'm actually literally filling up space. There's only so much space, right? But there's
Hmm.
always space for
Hmm.
chocolate cake. Let's not even pretend I'm here. So but there,
The
so
chocolate
but
lava uncorked is
I'm
currently
just
my.
like kind of just talk about it, right? Or the carrot. But at least I know I'm putting in more. I'm not going to focus on the fact that of every broken relationship in my life. I am so grateful to have the friends that I have, to have the joy that I've had, to have the laughter in my life. And that's where I focus on. Sometimes you feel lonely, but
Yeah.
then I stop and always have someone to laugh with. And if I so chose, I'm sure I could go find a man out there to do something. But
Yeah.
I'm good because I
Yeah.
can find that joy. It's not the void. I'm looking for the joy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's really, really profound. And what you focus on expands, right? So that is the same element of or the law that is governing that principle. Another thing I wanted to pick up on that you spoke about was your daughter being 23, because my son just turned 23 on Saturday. And
Wow.
he's currently going through the life awakening thing. Like, oh my gosh, I'm 23. I have another year and a little bit left in university. What am I doing with my life? Just kind of figuring it out. And I find myself talking to him a lot more and realizing that I need to talk to him a lot more because he's
Yes.
reaching out more, you
Yeah.
know? And
Yeah. So
so,
I started talking to my daughter more, but I also hired her a coach because maybe there was
yes.
stuff she couldn't
Oh, that's
honor. So
so good. Yes, I did that too. He actually needs, I think maybe more a therapist because I think that he's kind of low, in his feeling about it. So I want to kind of tag team it because I don't know what exactly is going on in his mind. He's trying, he's processing, I think, just manhood and what
yes,
I think he has, what does it mean, and he has
for sure.
aspirations versus what he's, is happening. And being a mom of a 23-year-old is very different from a 3-year-old. Like,
Absolutely.
it's two different things. And the 3-year-old is a whole lot easier, people. Don't rush it.
Oh, don't take it away. I mean, last year that whole thing about coming into self, my daughter had been through quite a bit of it. The world was ending and whatever. And then last September, she lay down on my bed and, mommy, I'll never find a job and I'm going back to Canada. She was here for a month and the whole world was just ending in that
Yes.
moment.
Yes.
The child went back and in 3 weeks she had a job that pays more money than I.
Then you're
and
living.
I'm
Oh my God.
I'm just like, when she texts the offer to me, I'm like, first and foremost, you're annoying. You are so annoying. She's like, what do you mean? I said, jump back 3 weeks ago to the hell and porter house that you put down in my house.
Yes.
So we laughed it through, but the truth is that's real for her. That moment of it'll never
Yeah.
work out. Because guess what? I tell her all the time, honey, you don't need to figure it out because I am almost 43 and I still don't have all the
Still,
answers.
that, well,
I'm still
that's
becoming a
it.
full-time coach. I'm still
That's
in
it.
school.
That's it
Yeah.
right there. And I completely underscore that with my own transition. And I've been talking to him about it. And it's actually really nice to be able to pull on my imperfection, because I think in many ways they look at us and they see us through those lenses of, rose colored glasses. Mommy has it all together. She's doing all these big moves. And, now that they see us visibly on social media and it looks like we're moving and shaking and whatever, but they need to know that behind all of that, I'm still becoming,
Becoming.
I'm
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
becoming, right? So that's
Yeah.
that's
And it's
absolutely
not.
awesome.
And I wish somebody had been like that with me. I wish, I mean, I look back on it now and when I'm, having a hard time paying the rent or the mortgage or the whatever, or paying salaries, my father must have been going through that stuff too. I wish somebody
Yes.
had said it instead of coming home and, being a meanie post about it or totally stressed out. So that now I would know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not, the rose colored glasses are the biggest
No.
fallacy,
No, I'm very
and I
transparent with my girls too.
just say it
Yeah.
as it is. Anxiety and depression. I got this. Am I labeling it, putting it? I mean, no, I'm moving through it, but I'm
Mm,
not the only one who's moving through it.
exactly.
Sometimes not having it together at work. Oh, absolutely. Do I run every
Exactly.
day? Power man, he man every day? No. No. Do I have green juice every morning? No.
No. I need more green juice in my life though, just saying. Just saying.
Yeah, no, just saying though, the green juice is a really
Yeah,
important
it's
part
a
of,
situation. It is.
especially
It
for
is.
mood management. Like, fun and
It
joke
is.
aside, green juice is the real deal.
And on that note, we're gonna move into bliss,
Yeah.
because green juice and all things delicious reside in bliss. So,
Yes.
um, what are you doing for your blissful self now? What are some of the self care practices that make you feel delicious?
So I'll start in the reverse. I just noticed, I just found out, I'm not a candle person, but I just found some candles that I love. I wish I could find one here.
Ah,
But what I realized was that um, the sense of smell is very important to me. And
mm,
this coconut, vanilla, mango, something, and pina colada smelling thing, I just realized it's so perfect. So I got those on Friday. But that's just it's just more of a sensory
no,
thing.
tell me where you get it from, because I need to get some. I'm a
I
huge candle fan. Like, I mean,
Her name
literally.
is the brand is Rachel Lane. I know it,
Okay.
and I think it's a Jamaican brand. I'm pretty sure it is because that's why I look for stuff like that. And it's just there's Bayberry and there's another one that's coconut and mango and it's just so the height of smell. I don't know if it's height is the right word, but it's just gorgeous. So sensory. So I've been lighting those in the past couple of days and sitting quietly with just focusing on the smell. And
Mm,
I find it almost meditative, something that I had never done before. Um, so in terms of being delicious, I am trying right now to figure out what gets my adrenaline going. What is that new workout thing? So I have a 10K on my vision board. I've never been a
ooh,
runner.
wow.
And so the 10K, and I only want to do it once. I'm not trying to become a runner. I really no. I just have this thing in my head to share a running experience with my sister. So that's me. Let's see what happens. I'm reading more than I used to. I got into a Netflix thing going on. I'm not a TV person. I actually don't own a TV. So I was watching Netflix for like 3 months on my iPad, and I'm like, this doesn't fulfill me in the way that reading does. And for me, it's just becoming very present of, yeah, I could sit here and stare at Netflix, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
But what fulfills me is reading a book. And I'm not learning in these books. Some are rom-coms, some are some histories. No, it's just I go into a zone of joy and total peace. I'm
Oh.
enjoying school, even though I'm 120 hours behind on my schoolwork, about learning about nutrition and honoring the body and being able to help my clients in the space and friends in, everybody's like, Danielle, what's Zinc good for, or whatever. And I'm like, I'm your girl for that. I'm the like nutrition Google now.
Oh,
And
nice.
I don't know what it is. I love like going to go find it out and like, oh, this is so fun. So I love it. The truth is, I'm having a hard time sleeping, so sleep is a big focus for me. Looking at a lot of things, like I've always been on CBD oil. I used CBD oil for my migraines a few years ago. And the other thing, and might be up for debate, is I'm looking at psilocybin, which is microdosing in mushrooms. I haven't started yet.
Oh, can you tell me how that is? Because it's come across my desk a couple times and I haven't explored, but I would love to hear about it.
Yeah. So I'm looking for that in terms of looking at that in terms of transitioning from medication for depression into a more natural substitute. And I hear there's some clinical trials. So I'm doing a lot of research, and I love to research. I think that's really where bliss lies for me. And I am considering a more hybrid life. Some people call it snowbirding.
Yes.
Spending more time with my family in Canada, because I've done 2 years of sitting at my desk. So you would know which
Yeah,
country I live in right now.
exactly. Exactly.
So extending that as a new possibility for my life. And for me, that will be joy, you know. So, and you know, I'm a beach bum. I love, I'm all about the beach bum. And lastly, my latest discovery in life was I found myself, actually, I didn't, with my sister and my best friend, they both commented within months of each other, damn, you drink a lot of coffee. And I was like, both times I was like, really? Me?
Really?
And they're like, yeah. My sister's like, can we go a block without you saying, oh, let's get some coffee? And I was like, huh. So I started to become aware of it. And I was like, damn, I was getting up to 3 cups or craving the third cup and sometimes craving the fourth. Like at 8 o'clock in the night, I want coffee. For the girl who's trying to focus on sleep, no bueno.
No,
Right?
yeah.
So anyway, what I realized is that my adrenal system was in overdrive. My body was trying to find energy and thus the craving of that one thing that will give you a quick snap. I learned a lot about adrenal fatigue last year. Dr. Mark Hyman speaks about it. Amazing thing to learn about. Anyway, my latest thing is I backed off the coffee, but I discovered sea moss. Sea moss as an energy booster. I kept reading and I was like, oh yeah, whatever. Kim Kardashian, you know, got hooked on this thing, and the whole world is now a trend, whatever. And the Rasta man has been telling us about sea moss for about 50 years, right? Because it's really just Irish moss in Jamaica. But I really started to research it, and then I started doing a tablespoon or two of sea moss in the morning. Bang, energy levels are up, and the whole world needs to know about it. And every woman I know in particular needs to know about it. Sea moss, just in water, down the hatch, you will you're a different person in 2 days.
So do you soak it overnight and get it jelly-like or no?
I bought the gel. Who has time for that? I bought the gel. Started running diseases and making sea moss gel. I got it from a good source. 1 tablespoon. I don't feel for the afternoon coffee, and I'm going right through. I coach every morning 6 to 8 a.m. and 6 to 8 p.m. So I need that energy, right? And
that's
since
so good.
that for 3 weeks, sea moss. Sea moss is the real deal. The body needs 112 minerals. It has 92 of them. Let's do this. It's like the greatest thing. The Rasta man has in fact known about it, and he is right.
Let's all get on the Rastaman train.
Yeah, so that's my new thing.
No, that's so great. That's so many great tips, guys. That's so many great tips. You know, you have between the CBD oil, we have the sea moss now for sure, right? We have the new exercise curiosity, the adrenaline thing. Actually, I think my new adrenaline thing, which is really shocking me, quite honestly, is the bike. Like I started working out with my partner over the summer, after being kicking and screaming, because my dream is to have my own reformer with an instructor, like a live person helping me to have my Pilates body. Like that's my dream, right? But until that time, I am doing like, pseudo gym. And while we were traveling, when we were in Atlanta, I decided to start working out with his trainer, who's a virtual guy. He comes on virtually, and we had the gym there. So we were going to Planet Fitness, and you know, um, my knee, I had a knee injury. And I've always had kind of wonky knees anyway, but I got a knee injury. And so he had to put me on a special program. And that program had me starting out on the bike every morning. And I was like, the bike. I was like, I don't ride bikes. I don't do that. I had done one spinning class. I'm nearly dead. So I said,
Right.
okay, let's see how. And I fell in love with this bike situation. So so much so I was like, oh, I need to get me a Peloton. I want a
Yes.
Peloton bike. Like I'm ready
I
to get
want
it,
one.
you know? But I actually really am interested in this bike world. So I was talking about sensing in a boy when I'm not, because I don't really do well with the gym and the trainer thing. It just isn't my jam. It's too much tension in the body and too much
Yeah.
pain. And I don't enjoy that part.
No.
But can I have a bike, please? And then of course I came home from work and there was the bike.
Oh,
Ah! So
me
it's
too,
a
a
new tool.
boyfriend. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. He's so good to me. So I have the
Yeah.
bike out there and I was having cramps all weekend, so I didn't get to try it. So this morning now, finally now decided I'm gonna go get on my bike and girl, I was epic fail. I had to make a video. I was like, it's not working. I can't make it go.
Well,
So
I would do the bike thing, but I cannot afford a Peloton. And I love the gym, and that's important to just figuring out what works for you and what's available in this
yeah,
season. So I will
yeah,
always have a trainer, and I will throw tires and all of that. But it's just not the season for it financially for me. So
yeah.
what else am I gonna find during this time? Okay, here's the time to bring up the season of running. Um,
Yes, yes.
because that's something you've always wanted to do, but I ain't gonna proclaim I'm gonna be no runner. That's for sure.
I know, I know, I know. I think it's a great thing to try what you're interested in and what you're curious about, and make all of it just come together nicely into one big lumpy mess called life. It's just amazing.
I mean, you should see the size of my vision board beside me. I'm clear as day. I look at it every single morning, and I'm
Nice,
like, the 10K is on it. So we gotta make it
nice.
happen because that's just
Yeah.
what serves the season.
Yeah, yeah, that's excellent. Well, our time is actually up. It went by very quickly. It was wonderful chat. I so many gems, so many gems. It's going to be interesting when I do my reflections because I'm going to bring that back. That was actually really successful last season where I would reflect on a conversation as one of my solo episodes. So when I do my reflections, I have some pricey gems that I'm going to be dropping, which I can't wait to share. But before I end, I do want to ask you for if you had one thing, one practice, one quote, one scripture, one anything, um, that you feel is really profound that has made a difference in your life, something that maybe you always look to. Maybe you already said it today because that may be it. Um, but what would that one thing be that you would leave with our community for them to maybe bring top of mind whenever they're having a challenge?
Right. So I don't know that it's the most powerful one in general because it's the simplest, but it's what's working for me right now. It's three
Mm,
words: block the distractions. We are so distracted. We're distracted by our
yeah,
thoughts, our
yeah.
phones, our buzzing, our watches. But we have so much that we need to accomplish. And we get so much more done when we turn the phone down, when we actually sit to meditate and we focus on those things that are important to us. And I am just very conscious of what is distracting me, and that
Mm-hmm,
is often thoughts. What is
mm-hmm,
happening here?
mm-hmm.
Block the distractions, and if you can stop and write down things that could be distracting you, maybe it's a desire. Maybe a desire for love and intimacy is blocking you from doing is distracting you from doing other things. So you're getting frustrated that other things aren't being done.
Right.
But maybe it's not the season for love. Maybe we need to work on some other things. I had a distracting thought. I picked up on one that I'm just too sensitive. And that was distracting me from being able to have vulnerable conversations. It was like there's like a narrative that was distracting me, as well as sometimes my desk is just a damn mess. And it's
Yes.
a distraction. So it's like literally block the distractions, as simple as it is on so many levels. And for the past week or 2 weeks now, what is the distraction? Why this is
Good.
not getting done?
That's good. No, I love that. That's really good. And I can actually make a list right now of all the things distracting me, including my phone blowing up. My phone has been blowing up for the last 5 minutes. So I'm gonna answer it in a second. But thank you so much, Danny. Thank you for joining us on the show and for being such an amazing contributor to the Balanced Lady Boss community. I really enjoyed having you on, and I can't wait for the rest of the world to hear this episode.
Thank you, everybody.
Awesome.